All right, so in the latest episode of One Piece, we saw Luffy and the Giants fighting against the Gorosei, mainly Mercury. And we saw that really cool sequence where Mercury, like, dark hockey blast. I say dark because the lightning is a different color. I don't know if that's Toei or if that's Oda's input, but like he hockey scream blasts like Luffy, and then he like blows off his stuff that's a part of him, his scar, his eyes, everything, and then like he puts it back together. Really weird sequence. We've never really seen anything like that in One Piece. We're gonna be talking about that, how Luffy's able to do that, but also what Mercury says after that sequence. So this has kind of been going viral, I guess, to a degree, or just people have been talking about this. It's to make sure you will not turn back into your original form, I will chop you up. Now, you and I more or less know what he means by this, but we're just going to play devil's advocate for the sake of this video because there are a lot of people who take it another way, and that's fine. So we'll start with the optimism first before we go into the pessimistic view of it, which is most likely what the case is. But does that imply that there is like another form or a true form to Luffy's fruit? And we've talked about this before. The long and the short of it is, even without reading in between the lines, the answer is yes. But it's been a few months since we talked about it, so if you have like a new take on what Luffy's true form is, or if there is another mode to his fruit, since it is a zone after all.
I do still believe that there is another form. I mean, it's so odd, right? Like, Luffy is a Zhoniin. Is this his hybrid form, his full Zhoniin, just his human form tapping into the zone? We don't really know. And then when you are like a mythical sun god, what does the full Zhoniin form even look like? Because at that point, you wouldn't look like... I feel like you'd look like something completely different. Maybe aspects of Luffy, like maybe Luffy's eyes or smile or, you know, hair, but everything else would be like the sun gods. So I do think there is another form that could be what Mercury is implying here, which is very interesting because this was dropped in the anime and not the manga. So it's like, okay, like, is this something Oda added in? Do they take artistic liberties here? Because it's always hard to tell, right? Even when you hear about animators talking about Oda and his involvement, they're like, oh yeah, Oda? We can't talk about him. But it's like, you know, they have like a tie somewhere, so it's like, okay, we don't know what's what. But yeah, I do like the idea that there is like a Gear 6, which ends up being Luffy's final form, especially with this final saga. I feel like that's usually how it goes, right? The MC always gets like one final power-up. You know, look at Ichigo, Naruto, all of them. Even with the baseball bat and going all the way to when he was a kid, Luffy's always been associated with the number 5-6. It's like the Japanese version of 6-7. Think of it like that, guys. And 5-6, it's like, yo, like, he's at Gear 5th. There's got to be a Gear 6th. And as much as people meme on like the dark, serious Luffy, he might actually have that. You know, there might be like a final form of Luffy that's not always laughing.
Gear death.
Yeah, Gear death. And then Luffy locks in, his hair turns black. You know, I do think that could happen to an extent. Maybe not as like cringe as that, but it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point. Gear 5 can't be the end because it happened at Wano, it happened against Kaido, and by the time we get to the end of the series, we'll be in the 2030s at that point. And Gear 5 will be stale, kind of the way that Gear 4 was. And, you know, as we've seen how powerful Imu is implied to just be through the Gunko form, not even Gear 5 can really deal with that. I mean, at least what is implied to be the full power of that. So there has to be like another thing. We talked about it before, the sun god. There's nothing really going on with Luffy's form at the moment that has to do with the sun, other than him just symbolizing it. So there has to be some kind of like sun thing, or at least it would just be weird. Exactly. So it would be odd if there wasn't. Another thing is the whole about him taking the pieces of him, right? Like how they're blown off of him and he can like put his scar back on and his eyes back in, and then he can make the baseball bat and paint it. All right, this is just like, I don't want to say like literally Toon Force. I know that's the meme.
Toon Force, it's so Toon.
I mean, it is, but according to Oda, the One Piece equivalent of this is something else entirely, because Oda was actually asked like what was going on with this. This is when it was happening in the manga. But the question was, when Luffy is using Gear 5, he pulls out things like goggles and baseball helmet and bats from what looks like his Hagoromo, Japanese for like scarf some like ethereal scarf or whatever. The rest of the question was like, please tell us how that works. And Oda just very nonchalantly is like, well, it's the entrance to Nika's fantasy. Okay. So I guess that is Toon Force. That is the Toon Force of what One Piece is. What do you make of...
Drop that answer.
Yeah, what do you make of Nika's fantasy? I mean, it's ambiguous. We're not supposed to know, but we could try to guess what it is.
Oh, yeah. I just remember when you dropped that answer, I was like, yo, what the hell is this? Nika's fantasy? Like, yeah, I see it as Toon Force. Right now, there's not, like, an upper limit that we've seen. And then, of course, like, the whole, like, Scar getting blown up, which they made that like a whole 2-minute sequence in the anime. It was kind of crazy. Like in the manga, it was like 2 panels, like, oh, there goes Luffy's scar, he puts it back on. In the anime, it's like, wow, like colors are flying at him and it's slowly peeling off. It's hilarious because that's supposed to be like a Warcry feat, but now it's just like Luffy goofing around. He's just having fun. The Warcry thing, right? Getting derailed just for a second.
Please.
I don't know why he did that, by the way. He's like, oh, I'll show you a war horn. He does it. Nobody on our side gets hurt. Instead, Marines pass out. So really, he went negative? Like, they have people more than Luffy. I don't get it. But either way, the Hagoromo thing, this could be, I say this a lot, this could be something, this could be nothing. Like, Nika's fantasy, are we actually going to know what that is? Is there like a limit to Nika's fantasy? Is it really just Toon Force and Oda just wanted to give this answer? Because he did say, back when Gear 5 first got introduced, he did an interview with Detective Conan author. And it was like, yeah, by the way, you know, Gear 5 was inspired by Tom and Jerry. Which, you know, they utilized Toon Force there. So it's like, okay, like, Oda wants to bring that into One Piece, but will he actually explain it? And I'm not too sure. It's just one of those things, for me, at least, that's kind of up in the air. Until Luffy says, oh, wow, I can't pull this out of my hair. Then it's like, oh, there we go.
Yeah. Something to do with Nika, which we don't know really much about other than he is the warrior of liberation. So it just, at this point, he could pull from his Cloud Scarf Hagoromo thing and just manipulate it into what he wants, essentially, as well as his own body. And also, when Gear 5 was first revealed, it said it was like the power to make your imagination real. I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. So that could be ultimately what Nika's ability is. Even though Nika, if he was like a real person, like before Joy Boy, because Joy Boy had the Sun God Nika fruit, so it begs to reason that Nika came before him, then Nika had like a power pre-Devil Fruit, or at least it's implied that he did. And it could be analogous to what Imu has. Imu has some kind of crazy devil power, and then whatever Nika had was like some kind of imagination manifestation power, more or less, and that's what the Devil Fruit is tapping into. So I guess whatever the next form of Luffy would be would just be fully going into that, more so into the sun aspect of it. Also, you know, Zoans have multiple forms, hybrid forms, the full animal form, which Luffy hasn't shown yet. Even though the Gomu Gomu no Mi, it's not a traditional Devil Fruit. It doesn't play by the traditional Devil Fruit rules. We didn't know it was a Zoan for 25 years. So who knows what's going on with that. But to come full circle with this, back to Mercury, his comment about so that you don't go back to your true form or your normal form or whatever, I'll chop you up. Occam's razor is essentially that it's because when he blasted him with the horn thing and blew him away, you know, bit by bit, he meant, okay, I saw that didn't work, I'll just slice you up because I know, you know, you're not like Majin Buu, you're not going to come back from that, right? He wasn't more so saying, oh, I'm thinking about the true Nika Devil Fruit form. I mean, granted, he had fought Joy Boy in the past, it's implied that he did, so he would know that. But I don't think that's what he was referring to. He was more so just literally saying, I'm going to slice you up so that you can't regenerate from it.
That could be it too. It's tough. I think because so many people believe that Luffy has like another form, we tend to look deeper at that line. Especially since it's a line that's not like included in the manga. I think that's another thing to bring up too.
Yeah.
Like, we can't compare this to anything else. We can't say, oh, it's a bad translation. It's like, no, like, he's saying that here, like, why? I
mean, we talked about this before. There is no small talk. There is no fight talk in One Piece. Everything means something. So,
yeah.
Maybe that's
He's
it.
gonna come back like 10 years later, like, oh, Gear Death is here. Mercury was right.
I hope so, man. Not Gear Death literally, but just, you know,
Yeah.
something that's not like, you know what I mean?
I agree. It's funny because I was trying to think like, what would the opposite of Luffy laughing would be? Just Luffy frowning or like Luffy without imagination powers? Would that just be Luffy doing the duh? Like I don't know.
I'd be down.
Gear B?
That would certainly subvert expectations because that's what Oda said he wanted with Gear 5 anyway. So just double down. Just make everybody just like confused. What is this? And then, you know, there would be people like, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. I always knew it. Oda, you're the GOAT.
I like Gear 5. It's not bad, but is it
fine.
my favorite gear? Nah.
But let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think's going on with Mercury's words? What do you think's going on with Luffy's next form? How his Nika's fantasy works? Of course, check out Sai. We'll have the link in the description. Peace out, guys. See you in the next one.